Okay, this is part 2. Because if it takes me a long time, then I'm gonna have to I don't know, I'm gonna have to call my ride back at a later time because I don't want him to show up. Oh shit, I almost tripped a T. I don't want him to show up and I'm on the other side of the trail, but I feel like I should be almost through it. I don't know. I took a shortcut, so now I'm ahead of the old ladies who were ahead of me before. And my phone still has a lot of charge. Battery's good, temperature's good. It's semi-cold out here, so I'm comfortable. But I'm just wondering, because I can see the other side of the trail, but some of this trail is actually a part of the golf course. I am completely alone out here in the middle of the woods, but it's the middle of the day, so I'm not afraid. Oh, okay, so I guess I'll make this one a different video because I felt like I was talking a lot about revenge. Now I'm going to talk about what I've learned about your nervous system and about how people can pick up on your nervous system and what state you're in. So think about everything, stick with me for a second. Think about everything in terms of energy and vibes and stuff, right? Think about everything in terms of that. So, God's not real. None of this stuff is real. What is a vibe? What is a vibe? What are people in the first place? We're still animals, right? What do animals do to survive in the wild? What do you need as an animal to survive in the wild? You need to be smart. The smartest ones win. What is intelligence? What do they have you mostly doing in school? Memorizing things and recognizing patterns. So, what is a human being? A human being is an animal that's exceptionally good at memorizing things and recognizing patterns. So, what could a vibe possibly be? It's a pattern within you of your behavior expressed outwardly. It's a pattern that people can recognize, and that certain pattern gives them a sensation in their brain. It triggers something that lets them know something about you. So, for example, when somebody says, somebody told me I give off the vibe that I harm animals. Why? It's not that I don't understand why. Do I disagree with that? Yes, 100%. I do not do that. I know that I don't do that. It's very weird for you to come up to me and insist or tell me that I do that, even as a joke. That's not funny. That's not cool. But why might somebody think that? Oh, I'm not wearing any makeup. My hair is natural. My hair is curly. That typically gives off more masculine vibes. And if you're a female, that's not considered acceptable. You're looked at like there's something wrong with you. I dress funny. I dress crazy. I have spikes all over me. And then when I do my makeup, sometimes it gets smudged. So sometimes I have the dark, excuse me, sometimes I have the darkness around my eyes, around my eyelashes and stuff. And sometimes, oh my god, where am I? I sincerely hope that I'm going the right way because I'm actually lost right now. I don't know where I am. Okay, but yes, a lot of the times it is because of the way that you dress, and then also because when I was at work, I was standing off in the corner by myself, not doing anything. So obviously, if you look at a person like that, if you're not assuming that they have something wrong with them, quote unquote, you're gonna assume that they're somebody who spends their time alone, somebody who's uninterested in social interaction, which is true. It's not that I'm uninterested, but I don't really think about my self-worth in terms of how many friends I have. That's just not me. So I don't go out of my way to make new friends or to talk to people, even if it's my job. I don't care about this job. I don't want to be here. So all of these things are contributing to what vibe I give off. All of these things are true about me. When everybody is doing the same thing because they feel the same way, it creates a stereotype of a person. What do we have now? Okay, Gen Z. What's Gen Z's stereotype? What's their vibe? They're goofy, they're silly, they care about political things, they don't let people talk down to them, they fucking, I don't know, they're woke, whatever. We're all gay, we're all trans, we're all mentally ill, we're all autistic. And that's what people say about us, because that's the vibe that we give off. That's the pattern. That's the common pattern. That's the thing that links us all together. What's the that's all a stereotype is. A stereotype is just a vibe that was placed onto a certain group of people without them necessarily actually exhibiting that behavior for that reason. It's a reason assigned to a behavior that doesn't necessarily come from real life data about what that experience is. So when people do that, you can be in control of what somebody perceives another person as. Interesting information. Okay. Given that being the fact, when you want to change your vibe, you're going to have to do some type of pattern recognition and figure out like who you want to be, what it's going to take to be there, what you have to physically change. And that's what a lot of people skip past in their thought process of like, oh, I want to become a baddie, right? Or me, let's use me as an example. I want to become a musical artist. I want to get on stage and I want to create content. Okay, you have to put yourself in that person's shoes to be able to understand them. How does a person who creates content think? How does a person who creates content think? They tend to be like the ones who I watch, at least the ones who I respect, who I would want to be like, they tend to be very well spoken. They don't trip over their words a lot because a lot of what they do is scripted. And other people tend to be more confident. But what's the one thing? They're not afraid to be on camera. They're not afraid to say what they think. Even when they face backlash, a lot of them double down. They're not embarrassed. You know how many artists have been called racist, lazy, this, that, and the third. I am on the other side of the park. There's no way. I have left the park. I'm on like the public street sidewalk. How do I get back to the park? Okay, well, I'm lost. I guess I'll figure it out, right? Oh no, I'm still on the trail. Question mark? No, this is a sidewalk. Okay, do I have to turn around and go back now? They said that this trail was 3 miles, and I thought that it wrapped all the way around, but I guess it doesn't. I'll just tell them to come pick me up somewhere else then. I don't really want to go back to that park because there's so many people, right? And I just kind of want to, I don't mind being around a lot of people, but I need exercise. And I kind of want to be by myself a little bit because being around people all the time, it gets to be a little exhausting. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm rambling a little bit because I kind of forgot what my point was when I started this. And I kind of don't care anymore. Like, all I really want is for people to care about themselves and to live their best life. But there's so much unraveling that has to be done before you can really be like a fully functional person. Not even to live your best life, but to just be functional in a greater sense of the word. Like, because yes, a lot of people eat, sleep, and they go to work and they wake up, but that's not living. That's not even normal for a human being to be doing that. Everything is supposed to be a lot more free-formed. Everything is supposed to be a lot more free. And a lot of people don't live their lives free. A lot of people live their lives as if there's somebody always watching them, somebody always criticizing them, somebody in the back of their mind ready to tell them that they're doing something wrong, and that person doesn't exist. There's nobody who's going to tell you that you're a horrible person because you ate a fry today. This person doesn't exist. They're not going to pop up from behind you and tell you that you have something wrong with you because you got revenge on the person, or because they're, like, I grew up with my dad being that voice, but I didn't have to listen to him. So I didn't. I wasn't stuck with him because I realized, I grew up as an artist, so I grew up with a certain kind of freedom because Like, I would draw horrible, terrible, awful, disgusting things, and then he would get mad at me. But I would post it on the internet, and there's all these sick people on the internet, and they're like, this is awesome, draw me something. So I made money. And I wasn't concerned with, are the things that I'm drawing disgusting and sick and freaky? I was concerned with, I need money to get a laptop to leave this place. So that's what I did. I got the money, I bought myself a laptop, and I left. I got out. Because at the end of the day, I didn't have to listen. Yes, I did listen to some of the things that he told me. Hello. Because at the end of the day, your parents, like, at least my parents personally, I understood and I felt that my dad wasn't necessarily trying to hurt me. He's operating off of old world ideologies that don't have anything to do with me anymore. And so I would take his advice. Like, I still paid attention because I understood that what he was saying was important for my survival. It's not important for how I should actually see myself, but this is important information. Why? Because we still live in this world. Even if you escape your situation will follow you if you don't understand, like, what it was in the first place that was causing you to have problems. So to truly escape your situation, you have to deconstruct it. You have to deconstruct your idea of what a dad is, what a mom is, what insecurity is. You have to deconstruct the way that you feel about things so that you can have a better experience, so that you can feel better things, so that you can expand your horizons. And that's why you shouldn't be so concerned with, like, what am I trying to say? So when somebody is trying to say you are something, they're trying to ascribe you a solid set of beliefs and actions based off of one word. One word can never truly describe how anybody is. Nobody is wholly, entirely selfish. Everybody does at least some things for somebody else. You have to live. That's how parents get you, right? Because when an abusive parent comes to you, oh, I completed the trail. I didn't even notice. I walked 3 miles in an hour. There's no way. Well, I'm at the end. I'm still not done yapping. Okay. Well, I'm back here now. I guess I'll go find somewhere to sit. Or I'll go find somewhere else to walk, or find somewhere else to talk. But yeah, it's like when you do these things, or no, when somebody's trying to describe you using a single word, typically that's just them trying to put you in a mental state where you will express these things, because you will get into the idea that, okay, like, people will call me insecure a lot, or they will call me ugly growing up, which led to me becoming insecure as a kid and as a teenager up until, like, when I was 20. And even today I'm fighting a battle of security. Are you bitches gonna trip me up? No, I don't give a foot what you think. But at the end of the day, also, it's like people will ascribe you an entire personality based off of one word, and then you will break yourself down trying to fit into that, when at the end of the day that personality trait just might not be necessarily true. Like, it was never that I was insecure. My siblings were constantly trying to fight me and beat me up. Bitch, I was scared. I was afraid, okay? And that's completely different from being insecure. That's not the same thing. Can I sit here or what? Yeah, I don't know. So at the end of the day, you shouldn't let it get to you. You shouldn't let this be like the thing that really ends up being your defining personality trait. Like, being the weird, gross, undesirable person was such a big personality trait to me, because that's what my siblings wanted me to think about myself, because they were jealous. They were jealous that I was not ugly. My sister is insecure. She was the main one who did it. The rest of them really weren't doing all of that because they didn't have insecurities, but she was projecting. But, because of her doing that, I spent a significant portion of my life thinking about myself, looking at myself, and judging myself. She didn't need to keep coming back to me and telling me what to think. I started doing it for her. And this is for everybody who I meet has fallen down this path of thinking this way. Well, a lot of people. There's a lot of people who don't think like this, but there's a lot of people who do. And I just feel like for the people who do, it's so hard to break out of it because everybody is just looking at you and just telling you, well, just don't think about it. Just don't think about it, because they don't know what it's actually like to be caught in that wavelength of insecurity, of not having enough, not being enough, not feeling like you are enough, not feeling like you're anything. They don't know what it's like to feel like you're really nothing, that you don't matter to anybody, that nobody cares about you, that nobody thinks about you, that nobody loves you, nobody wants you, nobody cares. That's why, you know, the difference between, like, you saw how Tyla got on stage, right? She was on stage next to Cardi B. Cardi B be at her concert. Cardi B will go to her concert, her own concert. She recently, and she was running around. She's saying, woo, the security is like, stop. You can't be doing all of this, doing all of that. You need to sit down and chill out and blah, 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 blah. But she's just out here because she's just so lost in her own energy and she's so happy. And that's a great thing. But then you look at Tyla. Tyla's right next to her on stage. Not in the same concert, but there is a concert or some event where Tyla was standing right next to Cardi B, and Tyla's like barely moving, barely emoting, barely smiling. She's shy, and you can pick up on the vibe when you compare it to somebody like Cardi. Tyla isn't doing enough. Their vibes are misaligned. Cardi B, you can tell that her actions are coming from the energy of not caring how she's being perceived. She's existing in her own happiness. She's acting like a rock star. And Tyla is acting more like an idol. She's being more reserved. She's trying to be more respectable because she I'm not going to say that she's prettier, but I think for most people, like most people who buy into the beauty standard nonsense, like if you ask a height supremacist what they think of Tyla, they're going to say that Tyla is a lot more beautiful than Cardi B. Why? Because Tyla is a delicate young woman with not a full figure, but she's very curvy. She's very dainty. She's very like soft and smooth, and she looks very young, okay? So she would be the preferred one. And I feel like she knows that. She knows that she's very pretty, and what's probably happened is she's grown up thinking that her looks are integral to how she will be perceived, and she's not wrong. So she can't do all of these like things that somebody like Cardi B, who nobody who's coming here is necessarily coming here because you're the most beautiful girl ever. They're coming here to watch you do a backflip on stage because you are so entertaining to watch, and you're so entertaining to look at. You're so captivating with your energy. They're not coming, some of them are coming for her body. That's why she has a BBL. But the thing is, she wanted that for herself, right? She says as much. She says, I have a BBL because that's what I wanted. This is what I wanted my body to look like. She wants to be juicy. She wants to be big, and she wants to be full. So she did it for her. She gets on stage and she shakes it. And then she also makes jokes about, like, I'm going to take it out. That's why nobody will ever be upset at her for this. Because why? Because she's not giving you the energy to call her insecure, to make fun of her for something that she doesn't give a fuck about. She's not allowing this to happen. I bet you right now, if somebody started a hate campaign on Tyla right now, she would freak out. Her reaction would be to freak out. She would freak out. Because she is probably petrified of the idea. She gives me the vibe of somebody who is petrified of the idea of other people not liking her. So, that being said, a person like that is never going to reach their full potential because you're still caught in the zeitgeist of the thoughts of other people. The thoughts of other people just straight don't matter. Unless you're like doing something really bad where you can go to jail for it. But even then, people make false accusations of things all the time. They're not extremely common, but it does happen. People make false accusations like all the time. So you still have to you can't come off like you actually did it. Even if you actually didn't, there's been plenty of times, like there was some TikTok video where this girl, she gave off the vibe that she did do it, and so everybody in the comments was like, you did that, you did that, you did that. But at the end of the day, she didn't. And when the evidence came out, they were like, but you were looking so guilty. You were looking so guilty. Why did you look so guilty and you didn't do it? It's because your perceptions of people are wrong. The way that you The thing about vibes is that vibes aren't real either. I gave off the vibe when I put on certain outfits that I go to raves, okay? I can put on a wig right now, a blonde wig, and I could get contacts, blue contacts, and I could take off my glasses, and I can make everybody think that I really want to be like these women out here who are insecure about themselves. Me having my natural hair makes people think that I'm like obsessed with Erykah Badu, and I'm a fully like, oh, like black people should only get with black people, like I'm similar to Dr. Umar or something, and I'm just not. My family, they have always thought that I was like some weird, screechy, emo goth kid, and I'm just not. I just like the fashion and I like the politics, but I'm not gonna like sit here and judge you. You do you. That's why they were so confused and they were lost when I came to one of the family functions and I was smoking and I wasn't yelling and I just was like chilling and I was just standing around them, and I wasn't trying to be the center of attention and I wasn't trying to like bother anybody. I was just like, I want to smoke too, and I just stood there and I just listened, and then people make jokes and I joke back. I didn't make it like a full, like they were expecting me to make the experience negative, bring a negative experience. They were expecting me to be a negative person, and I just wasn't. And then they started bugging me and I started bugging them back. So yeah, but at the end of the day, like, that's family. But you see how they have this perception of me based off of what my vibe is. That's just how I come off. But there is power to that. So if you know, this is why I'm trying to like work out, right? I'm trying to fix my posture. I'm trying to learn how to always sit up straight and to not slouch and to not do these things. And it's not because like, you know, I'm not going to take it so far to the point where I am losing who I am. It's not about who I am on the inside. It's about how I want to come off to other people, because there is power in that. There is power to being perceived as a beautiful, young, not intelligent, because what you want really is for people to think that you need them. And I do need other people. I do. But I'm not stupid though. I'm not dumb. But I'm not trying to come off so intelligent that I scare people away. And that's the balancing act. I have so much dead skin. Ew. So yeah. Okay, yes, but I'm not trying to come off inaccessible either. I don't want to be inaccessible to your average person. I don't want your average person to look at me and think I could never be their friend. I could never be their anything, because at the end of the day, that's what I want. I want you to come interact with me. I want you to come to my shows. I want you to come to my concert. I want you to feel, because the people who approach me are people who feel like they get the vibe that I would entertain their nonsense. So I need to do something to give off the vibe that I will entertain the nonsense that I actually want to entertain, rather than the nonsense that I don't. And at the end of the day, what I want is status. I want high status. I want to go to good, nice places and do nice things. What do all of the women in these places have in common? They have faces caked up full of makeup. They have their hair straightened. So I get to pick and choose who I want to be based off of that. This world is a fucking game. So you should be customizing your character to whatever you want to do. Treat it like an access key, almost. If the access key to get into XYZ is that I must look like this and I must present like this, it doesn't have to have anything to do with what I actually think and what I actually feel. I can just be a bad bitch in disguise. I can be a sleeper agent. I can be a spy. Like, and okay, if you want to break this down even further, if you want to break it down even further, you can just say that this is what I'm doing to justify living the life that I want to live, to give myself the freedom, because I have some type of mental blockage that is stopping me from doing these things. Okay, this is what it will take. I'm trying not to make it look like I'm recording people who are driving by, so that's why I'm lifting the phone and whatnot. So this is what it will take for me to do these things, or for me to free myself from the life that I've made for myself. And it doesn't have to be about anything internal. It has to do with what effect I want to have on the people around me. That's why I dress up anyways. I didn't used to care at all about makeup, being pretty, being blah blah blah, but really that was coming from me thinking that I wasn't pretty in the first place, and that I don't want the respect of people who will only care about me if I'm pretty. But at the end of the day, that's just how it works. And at the end of the day, a lot of the times, like, I have to realize that it wasn't even that I was coming off, it wasn't that I was ugly, it's that I was coming off like I was going to be annoying to be around, you know? Because, and a lot of it had nothing to do with what I looked like. A lot of it had to do with my personality. Like, people weren't wrong about me at the end of the day. I was insecure. I was a horrible person to be around. I was always upset. I was always angry. I was always trying to start, like, a fight or something. Not a fight, but, like, you know, an argument. There was always something. There was always something that I was trying to do or trying to be or whatever. There was always some fucking problem. I always had something to say. So, nobody was wrong about me at the end of the day. So I can't sit here and tell other people, oh, you shouldn't change yourself. You should do exactly what you want to do and be exactly what you want to be. Because at the end of the day, the change in my appearance has coincided with the change in my personality. So, if that's how it's going to be, then that's how it's going to be. And at the end of the day, you have to admit at some point that, like, I don't know, like, for me, it's not that I ever found any of the stuff that I talked about, like, bad, or that, like, people were doing something wrong by being pretty, right? I would love to be pretty if I could. I would love to be pretty. I would love to be the most beautiful person in the world. But at the end of the day, I also understand that that is a prison. That is a prison that you will get lost into if you invest into it emotionally. Some things you should only invest in physically and not emotionally. You should not get emotionally invested in what you look like, because that is a prison. That is a prison imposed upon you from the rest of the world, from everybody that you ever will meet and ever will talk to. These people aren't going to let you out of this. They're not going to let you go. They're not going to let you be free from the prison of beauty once you step in. And that's my thing. Like, I don't want all the opportunities that I have to go away because I can't afford to get my hair did one week, or I can't afford to do this or do that. Like, at the end of the day, right, with my hair natural, I still managed to find people who had similar interests. I still managed to find one really good, authentic friend who I still love. I found a lot of friends. I have a lot of authentic friends, but I'm talking about, like, recently. Like, when I changed myself, because this is how I love to look, right? I'm not, like, I just look like, this is just what I look like. And then, like, I have, like, a little bit of decorations. I put my hair up in a bun, a puffball. I put my hair up in a puffball. My glasses are pretty. I have a choker on. I have a hoodie that I bought myself, and my nails are done. And that's it. I'm not, like, out here in a full beat face, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to judge somebody who is, because that's just what they want for themselves, and this is what I want for myself. And I attract a certain type of person. I do. They will attract a certain type of person. So what needs to happen is, you know, it's all really like science, and it's all really like an experiment when you sit down and you think about it. Because at the end of the day, what are people? People are patterns. Human beings are the best pattern recognition creatures on the planet. We can do complex puzzles, and we can do complex things because we have the most memory, or we have significantly good memory. I'm not sure if we have the best memory, but we have the most intelligence. So we're able to do things, but we're also physically capable of doing these things. We have opposable thumbs and hands. And we have vocal cords that allow us to talk in a certain way. The reason why your dog can't talk to you may not necessarily be that it doesn't understand English, but all it can do is bark. And I'm saying this in the sense that, like, sometimes you're the dog, right? Sometimes you're the dog and you don't understand what's going on. Sometimes I have been the dog who could only bark, who couldn't speak in regular words, who couldn't understand those patterns. Everybody is different. Every human being has a different level of pattern recognition within themselves. Everybody isn't able to recognize the same things and stand up for themselves in the same way, because we're all so different. And sometimes you have to use those differences to your advantage. And that's really what you should do. And that goes for like, that goes for everything that you do in life. If you see a gap where you can fill it, try to fill it. Try to fill it with yourself and your energy. If it will benefit you, do it. If somebody is like, oh, well, we didn't think that you would want to go to this party, but do you want to go? And you think to yourself, well, I don't ever get out and I don't ever go anywhere, but I don't know how to act outside and I'm scared that people are going to just go. Just go. Because guess what? You're thinking about it in the sense of you having to put on a performance for other people, but maybe somebody needs somebody like you. Maybe there's somebody like you at the party who doesn't know how to talk to other people, who wants somebody to talk to them, and you can be that person's friend. Or maybe you can try stepping out of your comfort zone and talking to people who are a bit more outspoken. Like, there's been a lot of times where I've met people and people would be like, oh, you sound white, you talk white. At the end of the day, I haven't changed the way that I talk because this is the way that it comes out naturally for me. I do have a little bit of a lisp sometimes, and I do fumble over my words, and I am trying to work on that because at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is that I am understandable, and so I want to be understandable to everybody. And a lisp and a stutter is, antithetical to that goal. So at the end of the day, yeah, like I repeat myself a lot, and I do these things a lot, and I talk in gestures a lot and metaphors because this is what helps people to like, I'm here less to give you a specific set of instructions and a specific message, and I'm more so here to get your mind aligned with mine, align your mind with my mind, because where I'm at, it's in a very beneficial space where I get a lot of what I ask for because of the way that I am. And I do use things like the shape of my body, the color of my skin, the look of my face, the tone of my voice. I have learned to recognize what type of vibe I give off, what kind of person I am, and use the expectations of other people to my advantage. Because that is what it takes to be a human being sometimes. If we all understand that everybody in this world is selfish and everybody in this world is trying to get something from you, why are you not trying to position yourself to be able to receive these things? Because you don't always it's not like about gross. I'm not cutting that out. I'm leaving that in. You can see how crusty my lips are. Okay. I have acne because I need to fix my skincare routine. And I ate like a Wendy's burger, so there's probably mayonnaise on my lip. I'm sorry. Mayonnaise and lip gloss. I don't know. I should be really done talking right now anyways. There's like seven cops out here. 7 cops out here, bro. Like, and I'm like, why? I really want to get the fuck out of this place. So this is the end of the video. I just want to remind everybody that everything that you see with your eyes and everything that you feel isn't always like, it's surface level. Everything that you see and experience on the physical realm is surface level. In your mind is where you actually reside, and other people's minds are where they reside, and you can't see that. You can only see what's surface level. Now, you can use the things on the surface to infer what may be deeper in the mind, but don't be surprised when you don't get it right, because human beings are complex, and you can't predict something as complex as the human mind just with their mental experience. You can predict simple things, like I can predict if I know what somebody likes to eat. I can say, oh, you're gonna want to eat this. This is your favorite color. That's not knowing a person. That's not knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is knowing how to use your body as a tool. Knowing another person is knowing how to get them to do anything. How to get them to say yes to anything. How to get them to say no to anything. How to change them. They say you can't change a person. You can change a person. They can change themselves. It's about seeing them in their entirety and understanding that, and that's hard. I've yet to be able to do that to another person. And newsflash, 99% of people can't do that to you if you know that that's their goal. That's where most people fail. That's where most manipulators fail. So, your goal shouldn't be that. Your goal should just be to be as honest as possible and to get what you want. Use everything that you know about reality in general to get what you want. You don't have to be dishonest. You don't have to lie. You don't have to steal. You don't have to scam. If as a girl, you know that it takes being pretty to get things done, okay, what's stopping you from prettying yourself up so that you can get things done? If you know that that's the easiest, quickest, and fastest way, why aren't you doing that? You're setting yourself back for no reason other than principles and morals. And principles and morals are great. But at the end of the day, we don't have forever, right? You're going to have to dedicate yourself to a cause. If your goal is to receive something for these things, you're probably not going to get it. And you need to be okay with that. You need to be okay with sticking up for your cause instead. If instead you feel like what you want is to go past that, then what you need to do to exceed your own expectations is to use what you can to your advantage so that you can get into situations that benefit you, that give you freedom to do what you want to do and be who you want to be. You don't have to be like everybody else. Don't be like everybody else. Don't fall in line. Don't resist. Resist. You should resist. You should resist every step of the way. Because that is what makes you different from 90% of the people who are just going through the motions. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to fall in line eventually, like me. I don't want to work, right? So that's why I'm trying to do all of this YouTube stuff. I don't want a regular 9 to 5. I'm going to have to still put in a lot of effort. I'm not going to be able to get up and just not do anything all day. The same way that I came here and I had to walk 3 miles to make this interesting. That's just what it takes. Okay, I'm done. I said a lot. This was good yap session, I guess. Mwah. Bye-bye.